Hi, everybody. My name is the Goose Father. I'm a brand new streamer of the Bazaar. I'm a brand new streamer in general. This is the very first game that I've ever decided to make content for. That's how much I love this game. And since I started streaming, the number one question I get when people come into my chat is, "Wait, who the hell are you? I thought I was clicking on Trynet stream." But the number two question I'm getting is, of course, about the monetization. So I thought I would just put a quick video. I'm working on some guide videos to put up on my YouTube. I feel a little weird that this is going to be my first one, but here we are. It's the conversation that's being had. And I wanted to weigh in on it because I feel like I agree very much with the sentiment of a lot of Reddit about how people feel about the monetization system, but I disagree very strongly with the arguments we're using. And I also feel like there's some solutions to the problem that are a little more in line with paying attention to the needs that the game has in order to actually be monetized and be successful. I think the dream that we're only going to pay for cosmetics and that's going to keep the game alive forever is a little folly in a system where I'm effectively playing alone and nobody else gets to see me in my cosmetics and I don't get to show them off. I just don't think that that's a model that people are going to be so excited to have a visual appearance on their screen that's not shared with other people that they're going to spend money month after month after month. So I want to talk a little bit starting with the language of pay to win that we're using to say that we dislike the monetization system. I think that language is a trap. I don't think the question is whether or not it's pay to win. And the reason is because it's bringing us down this rabbit hole where Reynad's responding by saying, if you think buying these cards is going to mean you have more wins, then you're sorely mistaken. And now the conversation becomes about, are the cards more powerful than the base set or not? And if they aren't more powerful, then it's not pay to win. And the problem isn't about the power levels of the cards. The problem is about a first class and second class of players. It's about feeling like you're getting on the plane and you have to walk past all these people in cozier seats and shuffle off to the back where you no longer have any space to put your overhead stuff, right? I'm in danger of overextending the metaphor, but you get it. The problem is that I'm playing the game and get to see other people that I'm playing against or their ghosts that I'm playing against that have an experience and amenities and things like that that I don't have access to. And the game fundamentally will always have balance problems. It will always have cards that are broken and overtuned. You're always going to have the fixer meta every once in a while that just goes raging through. But that's actually a fun part of this game. It's actually like being able to talk about the fixer era, being able to talk about weapons Vanessa, or we will when it stops being so strong, or being able to talk about like the era in which that card was really powerful makes the game have a sense of time and a sense of progression that makes it really fun. Even when the meta becomes a little stale because of it, we know it's going to change and move forward. But when we're not able to be a part of that meta, when those cards are really powerful, but only some of us have access to it, which has to at some point happen because this is an incredibly difficult game to balance, then we're not going to feel like it's a fun era we get to talk about. We're going to feel a reminder of the fact that we are a second class of gaming citizen in this particular game. And the class differential between the paying players and non-paying players is the sticking point for most of us. The other problem is anytime you are actually paying for cards or paying for in-game items that can affect power, whether they make it better or not, it creates very it makes the feelings bad for the paying players as well. You have to balance the cards. You have to nerf cards all of the time for this game to not die, which means the feeling of bait and switch is just ready to happen. You show us, we come into the game, we see the new available options that we can choose, the new shiny, the expansion pack and all the cards, and we start looking at what they are and we start dreaming up new builds and we decide to buy the pack. And then it doesn't matter how long it is from the moment I bought it to the moment they fixed it. When they do, I'm going to feel like you took something from me and I'm going to feel upset. and then I'm not going to want to buy something again in the future. So this system isn't good for either side of the player base. It just feels bad. And even though Reynad's team has actually done some good work, not in their dialogue at all, but some good work in their immediate response to the power level of these cards, to show that they're trying very hard not to make buying the cards make you more powerful. Just the fact that the incentive structure means that we could conceive of them making more money if they do, means that we lose trust in them. We just lose trust in them because there's a reason for them to steal from us. There's a reason for them to make these cards more powerful and then nerf them down later the moment that like the people who didn't pay for them are going to gain access. And so for those reasons, I think the monetization system is just particularly bad. I think that there's solutions that aren't just cosmetic, and not everyone's going to like them because they do mean that you actually are going to be able to buy an experience that the non-paying for players have. But to me, the most clean, easy version of this, actually, really quick before I get to that, I forgot one important thing to talk about, which is the fact that the system itself that they have designed has made them make choices that they said they are uncomfortable with, which is that you can turn on and off the packs. Because, of course, if the packs are underpowered instead of overpowered, now you've paid for less power, and that feels terrible. So they had to give you the ability to not run the packs should that happen. And they don't like that, and frankly, all of us are deeply worried about what the game looks like when you're playing with packs 2, 4, and 7, and someone else is playing with 1, 2, and 13, and how it feels to like the new meta is which pack selection you're using in order to game towards this particular build or whatnot. That feels terrible, and it also takes so much control out of Tempo's hands to balance their game, to understand what the player experiences when every player could be experiencing different combinations of available cards. The game will be impossible to balance if we all have so many different sets that we have access to. And frankly, it just won't feel nearly as fun to be like, oh yeah, he happened to get that one good card and make it really powerful, but I'm not playing with that card pack because on the whole it nets me a less win rate, but gosh, I would really like to play with it. And then you're just making choices that just feel really weird. It creates a very weird, bad incentive structure. So my proposed solution, which of course the old adage in writing is that you trust your reader to identify a problem, but you never trust your reader to identify the solution. So please take what I say with a giant grain of salt. But my current idea for a solution is that we simply create a arena, a playground, whatever better branding than something I can come up with you want to have for paying players to get access to essentially next month's patch early. So all of the cards will always be released to the public after a month's time. Everyone who is playing in the current sandbox, in the main game sandbox, is playing with the exact same cards. But people who want to can, month to month, decide if they want to spend money to get into the sandbox to play with the new available cards, with the new heroes. So the new heroes can be available in the sandbox early. New cards can be available in the sandbox early. This allows you to not have to build cards in sets of packs, so you aren't forced to keep constructing themes. You can kind of drop cards as soon as they're ready, so the dev team can kind of have a lot more flexibility there. But it also lets them do what they've always done best, which is be a little daring with their game balance, which is to make big swings and big changes very quickly, patch to patch, so as to see if something new might be fun and might work. They would now have a place where they can do that ahead of time before it affects the general population of the game. The people who want to be playing that mode are going to be playing against other people who are doing the same thing. And there won't be a difference inside of a given game between the cards you have versus the cards your opponent has. The other thing is this obviously creates a use for gems where you could spend a certain amount of gems to get like a single ticket into that arena. So you can do it a couple of times to see if you like, if you like that experience or not. And then if you do like it, maybe you'll pay for it for the month. It allows when the meta gets particularly stale or when the meta is particularly abusive or the the hero that you like to play is not able to win much in the meta, you have a pretty good incentive to go chasing the fun. You want to go buy the thing that feels like it'll be more fun right now, not the thing that feels like it'll make you not feel bad. Um, and I think that just I think realistically that's an avenue where they will constantly get people to constantly spend money month after month after month. But it's not going to feel like I'm buying this game over and over and over again. It's going to feel like this month I want to do something a little different. This month I want to kind of play around in the new sandbox. There's a bunch of ways you could do it. You could pay for a 30-day pass into the sandbox, and that could overlap with whatever the release cycle is. It doesn't have to be start of month, so that the moment the game feels a little stale for somebody, they might have the incentive to pop into the new system. And I feel like this just gives a more fun experience for streamers who want to be chasing the new fun, the new fun, the new craziness, the broken meta, the new card that isn't balanced yet, that can be really silly to play around with and create really good content for their audience. But not suddenly make a game to where they are releasing content about a game you're not playing. So anyway, those are my thoughts. I generally think that I understand why Reynad and the team feel a little frustrated about the word pay to win being thrown around like a slur, because they feel like you're saying that they are intentionally unbalancing the game around the monetization system. And and they have intentions right now, or they seem to, of trying as hard as they can to balance the game so that the monetization system doesn't become this runaway train and ruin the game experience. But the real problem is that the incentives aren't in that direction. That they actually have to work against their better interests to keep nerfing the cards of the paid players in order to keep it from feeling like having that particular card pack is what's going to get you a win or not. And moreover, they're creating a system where we're going to have multiple different pack setups that get turned on and off, and they're losing control over what their general player base has access to, what their general player base experience is over time with that decision. So those are my thoughts. I think that you should probably not have watched this video because no one's ever heard of me. I don't know why you'd watch this right now, except that Reddit seems to be like fuming for more content for opinions on this. So I thought I'd throw mine into the ring. But I love the game. I got every single one of my friends to kind of swear to me in blood that when this went to open beta, they were going to come play it. And all of them called me back except for Charles. What the fuck, Charles? You don't love me anymore, Charles? You're not going to call me back, Charles? But everyone except for Charles called me back and was like, "Hey, we got to the time. How's this game doing?" And I just didn't necessarily feel good telling them to play it. I just felt like they were going to come in and see a structure of monetization that they kind of are familiar with and have icky feelings about, and that alone was going to tell them all they were willing to listen to about what the game is. And so I told them all to hold off in the hopes that something changes, so that their first experience of the game is going to be the one I had, and so they get hooked as much as I did, because I deeply want this game to be successful so that I can play it forever, because it is a blast. He did the hard part. He did 7 hard things. He built the brand of loyal customers who trusted him from the content that he did over time. He got those people to fund a campaign of a person who's never built a game before to go off and do game design and build the game from scratch, famously a not winning endeavor. He built the game, and it's awesome. It's just deeply awesome. It is such a testament to the fact that Reynad, everyone talks about how Reynad thinks he's smarter than everybody in the room, but so much of his old streams were talking about how these game designers don't know what the hell they're doing and they're making bad choices. And then he built the game that kind of allowed him to hang his hat on that. Like, he made so many fun choices. he so many cool ideas of game designer in here, like kind of proof that he did have a vision of something that hadn't been birthed before that needed to be brought into the world. He did all of the hard things, and now we just need him to do the part that's going to get like the game to breathe and live. And I understand that making any changes at all at this point, because we have been so viscerally loud about it, feels impossible. It just feels like we have gone to war, and now we're asking for a surrender in blood, and that's just not something that's going to happen. Um, so I don't know. I'm hoping the anger dies down. I'm hoping the visceral um, calling out and whatnot dies down, and we start getting a little clear about just the very specific parts of the problem, the very specific parts of the design that we are frustrated with. We stop using the language that's kind of entrenching us into the they are bad people, and we are morally righteous, and more into the these are the things that I really would like to be better so that I can enjoy my experience. And hopefully we can get there and get to the game thriving, and I can get all of my friends in, and I can make this a place where I spend a lot of time, not just by myself, but in my stream with people who are watching me, with my friends, except for you, Charles. What the hell, Charles? Thanks a bunch for watching the video. Hope that was worth your time.